back to the class, everyone. One of the most important things in all of Galaxy of Heroes is trying to get the maximum amount of rewards for the minimum amount of investment. And when it comes to the Order 66 raid, that's really no different. So today, I want to take a look at how you can maximize your score with Enfys Nest without having to go crazy on relic levels. So this video really will be broken down into two parts. The first half of it, we will spend a little bit of time kind of studying Nest, what she needs as far as Zetas goes, what her modding needs to look like, what relic level she needs to be at, and then once we're done with all of that, we'll actually move on to some gameplay footage to show you how she can actually still do some really good things at Relic 5, at least at the 0 tier for the raid. So let's just get this out of the way. She does not need the only Zeta she has. She has a Zeta on Fighting Instinct, which adds a Taunt Ignore and 2% health steal, stacking when an enemy loses a buff or debuff. Neither of these things are necessary. In fact, there's not a single taunt you would be able to ignore in the entirety of the raid, and she is just tanky enough with her overall protection shell that at least, again, at that tier 0, she does not need any extra health steal. So no Zeta required. If you have it, it doesn't necessarily hurt. As far as the overall relic level goes, you can get the maximum score on tier 0 at Relic 5, although Relic 7 is kind of easy mode, especially when you combine it with the overall modding. Speaking of which, her mods are fairly simple. She's going to want two things above and beyond all else, and that is number one, a crit avoidance arrow. This is important because whenever the dark side clones are going to crit her, they're going to lower the stacks of execute on Lord Vader, and once those reach 0, he will kill a Jedi, which will forfeit a bunch of points. More on that later. So once we apply the crit avoidance arrow, the next thing we're going to look for on pretty much every front is offense. You want an offense set, you want an offense primary, you want another offense primary, you want offense secondaries, as much offense as you can possibly get. Speed isn't as important. You will notice that I have a ton on her, and that's just purely because all the mods that have really good offense for me, I've also already have a lot of investment in their speed. So that's just kind of where this ended up. You do not necessarily need that. Again, you'll kind of see in the footage why it's not necessarily, because I will actually be going into the raid with significantly less speed than you see now. So with that all being said, once you have her modded for as much offense and crit avoidance as you possibly can, you can go ahead and jump into the raid. Now, you heard me say it earlier that this can be done at Relic 5, and you're probably calling bullcrap right now because I have a Relic 7 Enfys Nest. How am I going to make this work? Well, I ran a bot simulation showing my overall stats and overall modding, what my Enfys Nest would look like with these mods if she were somehow downgraded to Relic 5. So we're going to try to match those numbers as closely as possible by removing mods. So earlier when I said that speed isn't very important, it's not, because I can literally just chop off about 50 speed right here for her, along with a lot of offense and health, and the results will end up being the same. So now that we've removed those mods, you can see, if you really want to compare here on screen, that a Relic 5 Nest, or my Relic 5 Nest with my mods, would have an overall offense of 7,800, which she's actually at 7,500, so there's a little bit of wiggle room there for those of you who don't want to have to put God mods on her. In addition to that, her health at Relic 5 should be 53,000, which is also what it's at. So now that we have a very artificial Relic 5 Nest, we can actually go ahead and get into the footage that I had before. Now, the footage here is going to be broken down into two parts, and you can see that I'm running the demodded Nest just so for full transparency. There's going to be two battles here. One that is going to go perfectly, and one that is going to go as normal. So you'll see in this first matchup, everything goes my way. I get all the exposes on all the counters. I actually am countering every time, despite the fact that my counter chance is only 80%. We're not getting any stuns. And because of this, we're able to go after Fox in the very beginning and just completely take him out. And as soon as we do, we're able to increase the count of execute on Lord Vader and save ourselves, and just pretty much we've already won the whole match by here. We will target Oppo next to get him out so he doesn't keep reviving. And now that we have saved the first Jedi, or we're about to save the first Jedi, we pretty much have the entire match secured to be able to get the max score, again, at level 0 using an artificial Relic 5 Nest. Now, again, I'll be honest, and you'll see it here in the footage, this is hard to do. All those things pretty much have to line up every single time. And again, full transparency, it took like 10 times for this to happen. And 10 restarts kind of sucks. That being said, there is an easier way to do this that is more consistent and won't require you to press that restart button 10 times, and we'll get to that here in a second once our initial match finishes. By the way, if you ever at Relic 7, that outcome is very normal. You have enough offense with the higher Relic levels to just be able to completely take out Fox in the very beginning. What is more likely to happen is what you're going to see now, where Fox used a basic on our Nest. She didn't counter, because 80% isn't 100%, and the lack of damage from not only that counter, but also that expose that should have landed on her is going to completely cost us the first Jedi that is actually going to be executed. So you'll see that here in a second. The execute timer went all the way down to 0. Now, a few interesting things are going to happen now. Despite the fact that we were undersizing, Lord Vader's execute counter does not start at 15 again like it did at the beginning of the battle. It's actually going to go all the way up to 25. And because we're still able to kill Fox after, we get the granted ability that will also give another 5 stacks onto Lord Vader of Execute. This is where things get played differently, and you might already see it happening on screen. You do not want to kill Oppo. You have so much time now because the execute counter is all the way at like 27 when this first started, so we can just farm points off of killing all the extra clone troopers, and as long as we don't do an AoE or specifically target Oppo, he will keep spamming specials and they will just keep coming back. And even when it's just Oppo left, don't target him. Just hit Lord Vader a few times to buy yourself some time for Oppo to be able to bring everyone back. This type of strategy typically is not necessary unless you lose off that first Jedi. If you have all the Jedi to rescue, and this is really any tier, by the way, not just with Enfys Nest, then you should have all the points you need. But again, since we don't, we're going to wait. And this is actually bad. That happened about 1 clone trooper too early. So this score will not ultimately be max, but it will be really close and really just kind of serves as concept of how Nest can still get the max score despite not being able to have enough offense at Relic 5 to be able to take out Oppo, again, assuming everything doesn't go perfectly, which in reality, I mean, it's not going to go perfectly, at least out of the amount of times that you have to run this raid. So as you can see here, we end at 285, and then we get one final hit in on Lord Vader to bring us to 295, and bada bing, bada boom, essentially a max score. If we had one more clone down, then we would have gotten it. So that is going to be the guide for Enfys Nest. If anyone was wondering, I did try to emulate stats at Relic 3 to see where that would get us, and Nest actually just kind of dies. There's a lot of important stats, particularly health, and she just doesn't have enough offense to be able to kill things off. So Relic 3 doesn't quite work, and I also tried adding in other characters to try to go to higher tiers. Also resulted in just a bunch of losses, and also, if anyone was wondering, I did try to go up to the level 1 tier with the really good mods, not taking them off at fully R7, and Nest just couldn't get a single kill, and they just executed all 3 Jedi. So this is probably about as good as she can do, but again, when it comes to min-maxing the raid, it's still a viable option. So thank you guys for watching. Until the next time, stay awesome.